Shut down the control freaks. Hi, I'm Reverend Andrew Bozeman, and this is On the Wings of Your Mind. And the message I want to convey today is to shut down the control freaks. I'm talking about those who seek to control you, who want to destroy your belief in infinite intelligence, in the divine presence that is always there. Even though you don't realize it, it is always there. Now, I was reminded of this fact the other day when a memory of an event that occurred when I was 19 years old that is still with me today. Here's the story. I was driving too fast on a dark, cold, snowy highway. It was a two-lane country highway in Wisconsin winding up through the hills. Now, I had 4 days off. I was in the Air Force. I had 4 days off, and I wanted to get home for a weekend. Now, my home was 500 in Chicago, was 500 miles away from the base in Minnesota. And so I had a couple of buddies with me, so we figured we could make the trip in 10 hours, just driving straight through, have a couple of days in Chicago, and then head back to the base in Minnesota. So that's what we were doing, and it was my turn to drive. So I was driving up this country highway. It was a two-lane highway. We didn't have those straight ribbons of 6-lane highways, freeways, cutting across the country at that time. This was back in 1960-something, 62. So all we had at the time were two-lane highways. So I'm on this two-lane highway, and my two buddies were sleeping in the back seat, waiting their turns at the wheel, when suddenly, as my car was climbing the hill and approaching a sharp turn high up on the side of the hill, it hit a patch of black ice. Now, black ice is ice you cannot see. It's the same color. It's so transparent, it's the same color as the highway. So, boom, and it's very, very slick. So as soon as I hit it, the car started into a skid. Well, having some experience driving in the snow, I knew to turn into the skid, so that's what I did. The car straightened out, and we kept going, and then it broke loose again, and it started flipping in the other direction, skidding in the other direction, so I turned my wheel, of course, into the skid and corrected it, and we continued on, and then it again went to the left, but this time it broke free. It didn't respond to my steering wheel maneuver. It just went. It was going like crazy, and like I said, we were on a hill, so we knew we were high. I knew we were high up on the hill, so there were a couple of 100 feet off the side of the hill below us. And the only thing protecting us from going over the side of the hill was this tired old wooden barrier that I knew would not hold the car if it hit it full speed. So here we are, we're spinning down the highway. It's not responding to my maneuvers on the steering wheel. I tapped the brake, but that didn't work either. Actually, I believe I tapped the brake, but I was scared, so I probably hit the brake a little harder than I thought I would. And so, boom, it froze the wheels. The brakes jammed. So here we are, no brakes, no steering. The car is out of control. So as the car is heading towards what I consider probably would be sheer death, because it's a couple of 100 feet above, off the side of the hill. As I'm going or getting closer to that barrier, all of a sudden I felt this force, this power take over my body. It was very sudden, it was very strong, and it knocked me out of my body, because I was watching my body maneuver from that point. My consciousness was out of my body. And so what happened then My arms and hands, which had been paralyzed in place, all of a sudden did this severe swerve, which made the car spin even faster. And then, boom! My foot hit the gas, jammed down on the gas, and just at that instant, the car hit a patch of dry dirt, and the wheels were spinning, and they dug into the dirt, and zoom! Shot me up the hill. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing to see that happen. The guys who had been asleep were awakened by the jarring of the car, and their response was to wake up and say, "Hey man, we trying to get some sleep here. Be careful." Then they went right back to sleep. They didn't realize what had just happened. But I tell you, the force that took over my body was strong. It was very strong. And at this point, when they woke up, it was gone. It was, my body at that point was trembling from the fear of what had just had happened, from the shock of the energy, because it was so strong and it hit me so hard, and jerked my muscles with such ferocity. And I remember tears running down my face, and I was smiling at the same time I was crying, saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, over and over and over again, because I knew what had just happened was not my doing. It was not me. I would have never executed that maneuver because I didn't even know that the maneuver existed. I didn't know how to do that. I was not a stunt driver, but in those few seconds, I was driving like a stunt driver, not some 19-year-old with his first car. Yeah, I had felt that power, and I knew then and there, with confidence, that power that took me over and saved my life, I knew that was divine. I knew that was a supernatural force, and I believed that was my guardian angel working on my behalf, my guardian angel. And from that point on, I strongly believed in guardian angels, and that incident opened my mind to the possibility that our lives are being overseen by spiritual forces, but they actually will involve themselves in our lives if we need them to do that, if it is necessary, if we call upon them, or if they need to do that for our safety. It was awesome. Please click on the thumbs up button, and if you haven't already done so, please choose to subscribe. Remember, I would love to hear your comments, your thoughts, your suggestions, your stories. So please use the chat box on the right side of the screen or the comment section below the video. Also, you can support the continuation of this ministry by going to my website at bozemandevelopment.com and choosing the Please Donate tab, or you can use my Cash App to donate. It is at $Andre Amron. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Now, I share these kinds of stories with you to try and give you an inkling of the truth. We are not alone in our lives. We are not alone. There are those in so-called positions of power who want us to believe that we're alone, but we're in constant connection with powerful creative forces of the universe that are here to help us to thrive and grow and prosper. They are here with us all the time. You know, the Star Wars movies identify it as the Force. Traditional Western religions call it God. Followers of religious science, also known as science of mind, call it universal mind. But I've learned to call it infinite intelligence. And I know beyond doubt that there is nothing that this force or energy or consciousness does not permeate. It permeates everything that exists, because everything that exists is embodied within this consciousness. It comes from this consciousness. It is made from this consciousness. When I first learned of this totality, and I'm talking, that is all there is. Infinite intelligence is all there is. When I first learned of this totality, it was strange for me because it was so different from everything I'd learned before. I mean, the presence of it being in everything as everything was beyond me at the time. I remember the words I learned was, "There's nothing that is not God. There's nothing that is not God." The way I came about learning this was during a 3-day meditation ritual that I was working on as part of my studies at Amron Mystery School training. And while I was in meditation, I heard a group of voices say, "There is nothing that is not God." As I think about those voices, I'm reminded of the Greek chorus. You know, the Greek chorus is that group in a classical Greek play. They speak as a group, typically to express, formulate, or comment on the moral issue that is being raised by the dramatic action, or to express an emotion that is appropriate to that particular stage of the dramatic conflict. The Greek chorus. Well, when they said there is nothing that is not God, I, of course, disagreed. I mean, I never heard that before. I never knew anything like that. I knew God was out there somewhere, and I believed from my looking around at the beautiful flowers and trees and animals and how everything was in such order. I believed that God was there, but to be everything, no, that was foreign to me. So I proceeded to disagree with them. Well, you know, like what about crime? And they just kept saying it over and over again. There is nothing that is not God. There is nothing that is not God. And every time I would protest, they would say there is nothing that was not God. And it would continue hour after hour as long as I was awake until I fall asleep. And then as soon as I awakened the next day, it was still there. There is nothing that is not God. There is nothing that is not God. And I would argue and I would protest and I would bring up examples, and their answer was always the same. There is nothing that is not God. There is nothing that is not God. And finally, after 3 days of this continuous conversation, I accepted the premise that there is nothing that is not God. I've since reinterpreted the word God to infinite intelligence. So I now unequivocally state there is nothing that is not infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence is the consciousness that permeates all things that are animate or inanimate. It permeates all things because all things come from this consciousness. Quantum physics now supports the theory that everything that exists is made up of the same energy that underlies all things. Everything that is made of the same stuff. And at the atomic level, there is no separation. There is no separation. The identifying phrase that we use here is that you are an individualized expression of infinite intelligence. Because infinite intelligence is all there is. And you are an individualized expression of infinite intelligence. So why do I continue and persist in beating this information into your consciousness? Why do I do that? Because it is critical for you to understand that your experience of reality is just the effect of spiritual action. It is an effect, not the cause. It is what happens as a result of spiritual action. Spiritual action is available to you as your mind that is generating your thoughts. Your thoughts have power. You and your thoughts have the power to affect your life by virtue of your thoughts and your beliefs. Your thoughts and your beliefs. I know this concept is difficult to accept. It's difficult to believe because we've been conditioned by many years of growing up in this world where God is viewed as some super entity way up there in the sky, separate from our world. Not true. Or we grew up on the belief that God is ridiculous, that God is superstition, and therefore God has no real power. You know, I can't tell your God to do this. Ask your God to save you. Ha 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 ha. But remember, you live in a world where people who are in charge have a vested interest in your believing that you have no power. They want you to lay down and let them walk all over you. They want you to believe you have no power. They are living on ego, E-G-O, easing God out. They want to replace God with their own expression of power over you. They believe only in money and hate and war. But you don't have to let them control you. You don't have to let them do that because you have power unto yourself. You have the power to neutralize their power. You have the power to step outside of their control. You have much, much more power than you can possibly imagine. Yeah, you don't have to live in their control grid. But there is a catch. You see, you only have as much power as you believe you have. Let me repeat that. You only have as much power as you believe you have. If you believe you have no power, then you have no power. So you got to change that. If you spend your time listening to the news media and the skeptics who tell you that God is fake news, if you spend your time listening to people around you who don't believe in the power of infinite intelligence and don't want you to believe it either, then you're locked into a prison of propaganda and you need to break out. As long as you are in their prison of propaganda and listening to what they tell you, the lies they tell you, you are being crippled by those lies into believing that you have no power. They have you at their mercy, and you need to break away from that because that is a lie. That is a lie. You have power. Now, they can paralyze you with the fear of terrible things that might happen. They haven't happened yet, but they're feeding you all this negative information about what could happen, and so you're locked into this future, this cloudy future where all these terrible things are going to happen, but they haven't happened yet. They haven't happened yet. They terrorize you with the news of inflation and shortages and foreclosures and evictions and shootings and disasters. Yes, those things do exist, but they do not have to happen to you. They do not have to exist in your life. They do not have to be part of your personal experience. Surrounding yourself with the shield of spiritual protection can make your life experience incredibly different from the lives of the people standing right next to you. Yeah, different. Shield yourself with spiritual protection. Remember the 91st Psalm. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. You will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys at midday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. Understand that. Understand that you are an individualized expression of infinite intelligence. Understand that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. Close your eyes and ears to that constant shrieking of negativity around you. The sky is not falling. Instead, focus on the peace and love of infinite intelligence. Allow it to fill your mind and your heart with peace and healing and love. That's what's going to change your life. That's what's going to restructure your world. You know, in the biblical story of Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot and his wife, his family were told to turn their backs on the fiery destruction that was going on behind them. They were told, don't look back, just keep going up the mountain to safety and a better life. But Lot's wife could not let go. She turned around to look back and was immediately transformed into a pillar of salt. It's used as a preservative. Salt is used to keep things the way they are. So by turning into a pillar of salt, she was preserving her connection to the negativity that was behind her, that she could not let go of. She could not let go of it. But to change your world, you must let go. You must let go of the negativity that plagues your life. You must let go. You must turn your back on it. You must focus on the light ahead. You must focus on the light above. You must focus on the light and love that can bring you salvation. Energy follows thought. So, see your life improving. See your life moving in the direction you want it to. Write it down. Write down what you want your life to be. Think about joy, not disaster. Think about love, not hate. Think about peace, not anger. Yeah. If your thoughts are of light, love, and prosperity, then that is the energy you are going to attract. But to make all those kinds of changes in your life, it's going to require focus. It's going to require discipline. It just is. You've got to hold the line. You've got to be focused. You cannot allow yourself to be distracted by all that negativity around you, because that's going to pull you right back in and preserve it in your life like a pillar of salt. Let it go. Let it go. Let it, it's going to blame not caring about the state of the world. But wallowing in that anguish will only pull you back into it. That's not what you want. That's not how you make changes in the world. Uplift yourself and uplift those around you who wish to come with you at the same time, who wish to be uplifted. I was reminded the other day of a mantra that I had forgotten about. The mantra is, be still and know, I am God. So the procedure is to imagine that God, or infinite intelligence, or universal mind, is whispering in your ear, inside your head. They're whispering the words, be still and know that I am God. This is to let you know that God is with you at all times, in all ways. Be still and know that I am God. Repeat it all day long. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know I am God. Remember, we're working here to reprogram our minds to become powerful instruments for change. Instruments that are capable of being true channels of light. You are an individualized expression of infinite intelligence. Your thoughts can and do affect the physical world of reality and those around you. They do now. Even though you don't realize it, most of the time we don't realize what we're thinking because we're not thinking about what we're thinking. But we are generating at all times energy going out to affect the world around us, to create the world around us. So focus, watch your thoughts, change your thoughts. Change your thoughts and you will change your life. Change your thoughts and you will influence others around you to want to go with you and change their lives as well. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know I am God. Let's close with prayer. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence. Thank you for bringing all of us together in this life so we become spiritual warriors and joining the work we have come here to do. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence, for bringing us into this space of awareness and a deeper understanding of ourselves and our relationship to life and infinite intelligence. Thank you for showing us who we really are. We open our minds and hearts to the truth of our being. We are the children of God. We are individualized expressions of infinite intelligence. And because we are part of the greater whole, we're beginning to understand our value to the continuity of life on this planet. As we can become channels of your power, infinite intelligence, we can feel your presence within ourselves and within our lives more and more. We know that as we feel your presence within our lives every day, we will rise, because we are no longer cut off from you by being immersed in the darkness of fear, anger, and the pain of unforgiveness. So we are now restoring our connection through the grace of forgiveness, knowing that as we learn to forgive ourselves for the pain we have caused to ourselves, and as we learn to forgive those who have inflicted pain upon us, our connections will grow stronger and our lives will grow happier and healthier and more prosperous. And for this, we are truly grateful. As above, so below. As within, so without. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you for watching us. Please click on the thumbs up button below. And if you haven't already done so, please choose to subscribe. Remember, I'd love to hear from you. Your thoughts, your questions, your suggestions, your stories. I'd love to hear from you. So please use the comment section below the video. Remember, you can support this ministry by going to my website at bozemandevelopment.com and choosing Please Donate. Or you can use my Cash App at $Andre Amron. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for your support. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. In the meantime, I am Reverend Andrew Bozeman, and this has been On the Wings of Your Mind.